Welcome to the city, Mastermind City. Hi, I'm Fay Chapel.
And I'm Stacy Maynard. Join us for a vibrant, inspiring, and uplifting master talk as we focus on how you can make a lasting impact on a global scale. Because the truth is, we're here because we want you to win.
So are you ready to surround yourself with success? Because you're in the right place. Welcome to the city.
One person I was massive amounts of communication. I was texting with one, emailing, phone call, and I believe Instagram direct message. Like those were the four means of communication yesterday. It was kind of funny. But like one person was like, okay, I need a platform because I want to deliver a digital product. So she's asking me about, the differences between, Kajabi and Groove and teach like all kinds of different ways to deliver digital products. And I said, great. Do you have your digital product?
Of course not.
No. See, this is the disconnect. And this is what I'm finding fascinating in the same conversation. So that was one about digital products. Then I had another one about a podcast. And so it's like, I want your help in getting my podcast on the air. And I'm like, great. What's your concept? Like, what's your plan? Like, what are you thinking? Okay. So you can't put a digital product out into the world until you've done the work ahead of time and planned it out. I always say plan before tech. You can't put a podcast out on the air if you don't have a podcast or if you don't have a recording.
Or an idea.
You have to have an idea. So idea before tech. So I think what ends up happening is that people get so, I don't know whether it's overwhelmed or whether that's their immediate go-to. Well, what tech do I need? What tech do I need? But it's like, hang on, you need to back up about 15 million steps because tech is actually the last thing.
Right. But I understand it because I've been in the same boat. And I remember buying, I said boat like a Canadian, you can tell where I am. I remember purchasing Infusionsoft way before I had a list. Like a big list. I mean, I still have a list, but not a huge one. And I spent a lot of money on it because I thought that I needed the tech before. So I get it. But, now people know better usually.
So you do need to have a little bit of a concept, a little bit of an idea, do a little bit of research. But I also find this really interesting because I remember dealing with, so it was probably 3 or 4 months ago now, brought somebody on board and they're like, I want to get a podcast out there. I'm like, great. Have you listened to any podcasts? Like, what are your favorites? Like, what are you thinking? And the response was no. They had not listened
ever
to one podcast. You have to know what's out there and you have to understand the space. It's the same thing with social media. A lot of people are like, oh, I want to be out on, I want to get on Twitter or Instagram or Facebook or pick your social media channel. I'm like, well, have you been on the channel?
Yeah.
No. Well, no, it doesn't work.
No, it has to appeal to you, right?
You need to understand the nuances of the different channels or YouTube. I want a YouTube channel. Great. Have you done a video? No.
Video is the only thing you can do on YouTube.
So it's fascinating that, you kind of leap from, even if you have an idea, like I want to have a YouTube channel, they leap from, here's my idea and I want to, be on YouTube.
Right.
But people don't understand, and you can speak to this as well, because I know your son is a big YouTuber and fantastically successful one.
Yeah.
But what people don't understand is the amount of time it takes to put that video together.
Yeah, I think it's everyone went his channel. His name's Jack Chappell, and he's got like 500,000 followers, and he puts these really, really beautifully produced videos on. But it takes him a week or two to do them because that's really his work. That's his investment in the video, and people think they can do a video in 5 seconds and it's going to be up and go viral. And, we've talked about this before, he's a 6-year overnight sensation. 400 videos later, that's what he does. But I mean, it took him that long. It takes him that long to do it. He says, I can't remember the number, but he said for every, 20 scripts he writes, he scraps 19 of them, something like that. So,
right. But it does take time. not just the investment in growing a channel, but you can't have a YouTube channel without the video. You can't have a podcast if you don't have an idea. You can't go onto a social media channel if you've never been onto that particular channel and understanding how it works and having that experience. So it fascinates me, I guess, the people who want to go from idea to finished product.
Well, that's the challenge. I mean, most of the people I work with are in the idea stage, and they don't know how to take their idea and actually make it a reality. So it's fascinating. And we always, it's interesting how we ended up on the same topic all the time in the mornings, because like we've said, we don't talk about it in advance. But playing on to what you were saying, the last couple of days, what I've noticed is that everyone wants it done for them.
Right.
They don't want to put any work in. And that's kind of where you're saying, like they want a podcast, but they don't want to actually have to sit down and write it.
Or they don't want to sit down and record it.
No, they don't want to do anything. And so what I've seen especially in the last week or so, you've noticed that everything's getting simpler and simpler. And a lot of the marketing talk is, you don't have to watch any videos. You don't have to do any training. Just here's the templates, and go ahead and use them. And those are selling like crazy.
Yeah.
And I don't have a problem with it. I mean, we do the same in certain things. We sell templates. We sell a lot of different things that you can use right out of the box. But there's something about understanding what it is that you're doing, right? Understand where it's coming from. If you're, sure, I can give you an idea to do a podcast. No problem. I could say, talk about this, and you could run with it. And I can give you 20 different, if you call me, I can give you 20 different things to talk about. No problem. And it's all got a theme.
Right.
But it's not yours.
Right.
So sometimes when you buy certain templates, don't get me wrong, it's fine with emails and all that stuff. But if it's not your words, or it's not your, your idea or your strategies or your systems, I don't know. I think people eventually see through it. But it's funny because that's all anyone wants. It's done for me. And I keep thinking to myself, okay, I get it. I like done for me stuff too. For sure. But then what do you do with your time? like, what do you do if everything is done for you?
I don't know. I remember, I think it was probably way before COVID when we could actually do in person.
Yes.
And the facilitator of this particular meeting had me in and wanted me to do some training on podcasting and stuff. And she goes, well, I don't want to do it. She goes, I want somebody else to do the intro. I want somebody else to do the outro, because that was the point we were at. And she goes, I want somebody else to record the episodes.
Right.
And I went, you can't have a podcast then.
No.
Because that is the worst. I mean, it's one thing to outsource your social media, and that's where I think we need to be. Done for you, great. Outsourcing, absolutely. There's an incredible amount of stuff that you can outsource. But if it's not you,
that's where is the problem.
It's a big problem. So I guess, like I said yesterday, I just found there was a theme in regards to my phone calls and conversations where, again, it's like, I have this idea, I want a digital product, and they want to immediately leap to the HGTV version,
right?
Where we've got the before and after. So the before is I don't have one, and after, it's done. So it's like, well, hang on a second. What about the work in the middle?
Right.
Right. And some of those done for you templates can be an amazing time saver.
And we
110%.
We do a lot of them. Like in our Global Impact Accelerator, we give people templates to follow, email scripts to follow. But the initial idea or the initial piece of content still has to be yours. It has to come from, unless you're a reseller, and if you want to resell somebody else's stuff, that's cool. Great. Nothing wrong. Or you want to be a commentator on their information, that's cool too. But again, you can't just say, oh, I want a digital product. And we get that too, because, I help people create digital products, and that's the issue. They're like, well, I want to create a digital product, but they have no idea. No idea at all. Like, there's
a lot of work that goes into it. I think when we first started talking about Global Impact Accelerator, we call it GIA. There is like multiple modules in each one, multiple lessons within multiple modules. Yeah. And there's a lot of information in there. But it's interesting because, again, people see before it's not there. And then they see the HGTV version where after. But what they didn't see is each week, Fay and I, at our desks, putting together presentations, recording each lesson, editing each lesson, putting it out there, creating the modules, writing the information, creating the templates. Like there's a lot of work that goes into it. So I think before you go down the road of, I want to do this, I want a podcast, I want a YouTube channel, I want a digital product, I want to be on every social media channel. I mean, there's an incredible, and we have a whole webinar on visibility and frequency and all of those places that you can be online.
Yeah.
But understand, it does take work to get there. It's not just an overnight. It's not a 6-year license.
And if you see any of these things that say you can do your digital product, tonight, it's not that easy. It's not that easy.
Well, you could. Well, so it depends.
You technically can, but not
any good.
Yeah, and not to full. So sure, I can record. If you just sit there and record for an hour, it could be a masterclass. It's recorded, done. But then you have to figure out how to put it on a page, how to do a sales page, how to do a checkout, how to send it out, how to get noticed. There's so much more to it than that. So if you really want to do something, even if it's a podcast, whatever it is, you need to sit down and go, okay, am I willing to devote the time? Because once the setup is in place, then it becomes a heck of a lot easier.
Yeah.
But even people that go through our digital product course, it's fascinating to me how they hit a wall, because then they realize, oh, you mean I have to record all this?
No, it's work.
I didn't like that part.
Well, it was funny because I remember I've written many LinkedIn profiles for people, and they're like, okay, so can you write my LinkedIn profile? I'll be like, yes, absolutely. Like we agree on cost and no problem and timelines. And then I send them a list of information I need. And they write me back and they're like, oh, you mean I have to I at least need to know where you used to work. I can't just make stuff up. So it's fascinating. Again, even when you outsource, you still need to be prepared. Like we have Spencer helping us with social media and doing videos and stuff like that. And I think yesterday she's like, I need to know
what you want
me to say or what you want me to do or, on these different things. So even we get stuck because we sometimes rely on the fact that she just somehow has information by osmosis.
Yeah. But it is true when you have somebody working for you for a long time, they can a lot of times figure something out, but they cannot make your digital product for you.
No, it doesn't. You have the knowledge in your head and to be able to execute that, right? And it does take a lot of work. So again, I remember last, I just had so many conversations with people. Again, I love your HGTV version. I think I'm going to start using that because it's so true. They're like, okay, how do I launch my podcast? Do you have one? No. I want to launch my whatever. Do you have one? No. I want to launch my digital product. Do you have one? No. And
I've had clients like in the past that have said, I need I have to get X amount of clients this month. Okay. So what is it that's special or unique that you're going to do? You know what I mean? That will get you there. So it's not that easy because everything requires work. I hate to say it, but it's true. We can't, we're renovating the farmhouse. Guess what? Unless we actually take a paintbrush and paint the wall, it's not going to happen. So we can hope or wiggle our nose like Samantha and Bewitched, but nothing happens.
So anybody over the age of 40 might get that. Anybody under, Google Bewitched.
Yeah. Yeah.
Don't you wish you could do that though?
Yeah.
Oh, that would be so nice.
Yeah.
I remember looking at this, what was it? Oh, there was something on a kitchen cupboard and it was like, okay, well, so the steps, I had to go and the screwdriver that I had was not the right one. So I had to go with the screwdriver. Well, that doesn't fit. I have to get over a different fit because you were laughing because it was like, I took one screw, but I took the other screw out. I'm like, well, I get a different fit. I got to go with the screw. So everything takes time and the little baby steps to get there and including anything you do online.
It's worth it. If you
Absolutely.
really, truly, in terms of, because your conversation started with people wanting to do podcasts, but if you really, truly, truly want to do a podcast, okay. But if you don't have an idea, I think you don't really want to do a podcast. You just think you should do a podcast.
Or if you haven't taken the time to listen to podcasts, or you haven't taken the time to see what's out there, or you haven't taken the time to think, what could I say? Or even just practice, like grab your microphone. Could you talk about something for 10 minutes? You think you can, but can you actually do it?
Yeah.
A video. Well, I want to have a YouTube channel. Great. Do you have a video? No, I'm uncomfortable in front of videos.
And it's
I can't help you.
It's just
no, I can, but yeah, we talked about that. But
it's funny. It's a little. I think again, there's so many people that are out there that said, "I'm doing a podcast, I'm doing a video, I'm doing all of this," and they do one, and then they quit. So we always suggest to everyone that works with us, do one of anything, but don't publish it.
Yeah, or just do a practice one.
Just see if you're actually, if you enjoy it, if you like it, if you think you can commit to doing this on a regular basis, even with digital product. You know, the first thing you always do is lay out your outline of your product. What does the roadmap of your product from A to Z? What does that look like? And if you can't even get that out, then you got a lot of work to do before you end up doing a digital product. So you really need to focus on why. I think the biggest question is why you want to do something.
Yeah.
And make sure it's not just because you think you should.
Yeah, don't worry about shoulds. And it's the same thing again if you go onto social media. I need to have an email list. Well, why? What are you going to do? Consistency. Are you willing to dedicate time to developing it? Once it's developed, once you're done, you're not done. You need to promote and continually do different things. So there is a commitment level for sure. And absolutely outsource help. There's people out there that can help you with different things, but there's a certain amount of things that you can't outsource. So you can hire a videographer. There's amazing ones out there to help you with videos to make them look a little bit maybe more professional if that's the route you want to go down and that makes you feel more comfortable. But you still need to know what you're going to say when the video camera comes on. So that's why I always say plan before tech.
Hey, and if you guys really want done for you stuff and you're like going, I'm in and I just want X, then let us know. Put it in the chat. Tell us what you're looking for and we'll give you some honest feedback and maybe we'll even create another course.
Exactly.
Because you know what? We'll do it.
We do like creating stuff. We like creating courses. We like doing master classes. It takes time, but it's fun.
Thanks for joining us here in Mastermind City, but you don't have to say goodbye because there's other ways to join us.
We would love to have you as part of our community, so join us in mastermindcitycommunity.com so we can hang out together.